大家好，歡迎嚟到新一集嘅相聚一刻。咁今日咧，我嘅 special guest 就係 Danny Khursigara。
Nice to meet you.
OK，so 嗱，我哋咧就會用英文講嘅陣間。咁如果大家譬如話，我唔識聽英文喎，咁點咧？就喺個 YouTube 嗰度咧有一個掣咧，大家可以咧抄到翻譯嘅。然後先咧就即係揾到翻譯啦，然後跟住再喺入邊咧轉做廣東話，轉做中文繁體或者簡體就得㗎啦。OK，so welcome to our show again.
Welcome.
So
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
4 months.
Yes, 4 months. Long
4
time.
months. Time really flies.
2024. So now it's the change of the year.
Yeah, 2 years.
Yes.
We haven't met for 2 years. Okay, so last time I really have a good time. I really have a good time, and I love interview you because you're always like so inspiring. So like bring a lot of points that I forgot. So this time we're going to talk about how to remove the barrier before success. And today, the economy and then all the commerce and people say, look, the money is gone, we don't have money to make and Hong Kong is so poor now. What do you think about it? And then why is it so hard for some people to be successful while it's so easy for the others?
Yeah, that's a good question. So last week last week there was rugby sevens happening here.
Yeah.
There was Art Basel.
Did you go?
There was the other one, Art Central, where I went.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of events happening. There were banking, GIS, and it didn't seem like Hong Kong was in a bad shape. That was like thriving. There was people everywhere. The restaurants were full. The malls were full. There were tourists coming in. So that's the kind of vibe I like seeing in Hong Kong. And I kind of see it kind of coming up.
I think because you come from abundance. So when you see the world, you always like project your abundance like, I see everywhere is full. The restaurant is full and this and full and that is full.
That's good, right?
Of course.
So what you're feeling inside is what is reflected back to you.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but even from a economic standpoint, I understand that there is a lot of people are right now struggling with their jobs. Some people have lost their jobs. They are businesses. I know that's happened. But what I've also seen is that since the last year and a half, things have started to slowly get better.
Yeah.
Gradually, there is a kind of a betterment that's happening. It's not as fast as we would have wanted it to be. But like I said, it's again, how you perceive is what's reflected back to you. And which is why we do this course called Removing Barriers to Success. So if there is something that's holding you back, any obstacle, whether it's internal or an external obstacle, if we are able to remove that, then it becomes an easy pathway for us. So that's exactly what we're going to do in this workshop.
It is very interesting. Last week, I bring some of my students to the wet market in the Canton Road. Okay, so we just walked down the Canton Road with a lot of people selling all kinds of things like fruits, vegetables, things like that. Okay, and we just find that like some of them are doing real well, like maybe 30% or maybe much less. That some of them are doing real well, and then most of them are like sitting there looking bored, no business. And it is very interesting. How come some people, they're selling the same things? Fruits or vegetables, same thing. But some of the mini shops, they really have good business. And then most of them are like, sitting there doing nothing. What do you think? Is it something with the people mindset or the programming or what?
Yeah, there are a couple of reasons.
Yeah.
The first thing is, I would say, what is your energy behind what you're doing? Are you excited about what you're selling? Are you enthusiastic about life? Do you see things in a more optimistic way? Do you see things as more doom and gloom? All right. So one is the energetic aspect of why your businesses are thriving and why they're not. That's one aspect. Secondly, for those people where businesses are probably not working, you got to ask yourself, what am I learning here? Maybe you're doing this business because you have to do it, not because you want to do it. So maybe there's another route and something else that's waiting for you, which probably could be something better for you, which you're not exploring yet. All right. So for some people, it's energetic. For some people, it could be, it's now time to change what you're doing. All right. So a lot of people come to me and ask me in their jobs, like, I don't enjoy my job. I hate my job. I don't like this. I don't like my boss. It's every day I hear this.
I heard it a lot.
Yeah, and I always tell people there are only two ways. There are only two solutions. One is that you either change what you do, or you change your mind about what you're doing.
Or attitude.
All right. So there are only two ways. So you can, if something's not working, you change what you're doing, and probably there's a bigger upside there, or you change your mind about what you're doing. But just staying there and complaining is not going to work. So there could be either of these reasons why you see one guy selling the same thing, doing amazing work. Maybe his attitude, maybe his outlook and energy on life is very different. Maybe he loves to sell, he loves what he's doing, and he's attracting those kind of people to him. And the other guy probably has a different outlook on life, or it's probably he's in the wrong business. He probably would be better doing something else. So there could be, one or two reasons why these people are not making enough money than someone else. But the question here is not about why him and not me. The question here is, what am I learning from this experience?
I think this question are not asked often enough, especially in a Chinese society. Usually we will complain like my boss is an asshole, and then my colleagues, they're just useless, and then I'm the best one, and then my suppliers are just, oh my God, Then we rarely ask the question like, what am I learning here? What have I learned? This is not a common question we ask in the Chinese society. You think so?
Yes, that's true. So I look at, an easy way to explain this in a different way, I think for you users will understand this better, is that your life as it stands today is a culmination of the choices you've made.
Yeah.
All right? So every choice. So who decides what you're going to wear in the morning?
Me.
You. Who decides what you're going to have for breakfast?
Me.
Who decides, where you're going to go for dinner tonight?
Of course, me.
So you know that everything you are deciding. But when it comes to a job or a relationship, people always look at someone else deciding for them. But in what reality happens is that if you understand that your life is a culmination of all the choices you've made. So the choice about I'm finding a new job versus what clothes should I wear this morning, energetically, spiritually, it's actually the same choice. But mentally, we have decided, we've been conditioned through our education system, through our value system, through our society, that that's a big thing, big choice, and this is a small choice.
Yeah.
So we say that's a big choice, and it's going to take me maybe 6 months to get there, whereas deciding what I need to wear, I can do it right now. But that energetically is not true. Mentally, you will argue it is, because analytically you're analyzing, it's very easy to make this choice. But if you understand how energetically and spirituality works, I'm choosing to have a relationship with someone like this, or I'm choosing to be in a job something like that.
Yeah.
We attach more bigness to that goal versus what am I going to have for breakfast? And that's the problem. If you would treat both these things the same, you'll be surprised how quickly those perceived big things will also start coming towards you. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I think so. I think so.
All right. So we have been, through our upbringing, value system, conditioning, and schooling, we have been conditioned to say that is something big and it's in the future. This is right now. I can do it right now. What if your entire life you were told that deciding the job was easy and deciding what to wear in the morning was a very difficult task? You'd be believing that today. 100%. So we've come to that stage about a belief system that says that certain choices require more time and are more difficult versus some other choice. Energetically, it's all the same.
I have when you say this, I have a question. Okay, like for my whole life,
yes,
I feel like work is fun, especially when I'm younger in the investment world. I almost feel like effortless, and I feel that the workplace like a playground to me. Like I'm going to work now. I'm going to have a lot of fun. But when it comes to relationship, I didn't feel the same. Like, oh, the relationship is so tough. It's so hard to find the right guy, and then to communicate, and then to. But isn't that common? Like, with one thing, I feel easy. And for some other people, it's like, oh, relationship is easy. I'm married to my wife, and then maybe I'm married to my husband, and we are so well, and we go along so well. But when it comes to work, it's like, oh, I cannot perform, and then my boss doesn't appreciate me. But it's very common. Like we do well in one area, and then we don't well in the other area or the other areas.
So let me ask you a question.
Don't be too tough on me, okay?
So when you're doing this work which you love,
yeah,
do you find powerful when you're doing it?
I feel powerful. I feel easy. The most thing is I'm having a lot of fun.
Exactly.
Like interviewing you.
Exactly. So you're feeling powerful, it's easy, and you're having fun. When it comes to relationships, do you feel powerful?
No.
No. So in relationships, you're giving your power away. In work, you're taking your power, which is why it's easy for you. Simple as that.
Really?
Simple as that.
But how about you have to meet with the right person, and then you have to
It's got nothing to do with another person. You see, in relationships, it's a very good question you're asking. We never fall in love with another person in a relationship. We think we are falling in love. We're not. We're actually falling in love with the version of us when we are with that person, who we become. So when we're with a person who we really enjoy, who makes us laugh, who makes us feel, sexy, who makes us feel happy, who makes us feel joyful.
Isn't it true that he makes me feel this way and that way?
So you start feeling that, and that feeling is so addictive, so you want that feeling again and again and again. Now that person, whoever he or she is just a catalyst of showing you your best version. So actually you're falling in love with the version of you when you're with that person. You think you're falling in love with someone else, but that person is actually catalyzing your own self-love. If you see relationships from that perspective, you'll never go wrong. Because that's the right perspective. You never fall in love with another person. You think you are.
I do think I am, so I'm not.
Yeah, so when you like someone, why do you like... So look back at your life where you met somebody and you really enjoyed. What did you enjoy about that company?
I forgot. It's a long time. Like, I really forget. Let me think. Why? The companionship.
And the companionship makes you feel...
I think it's interesting because when I be with someone, like a boyfriend, it takes a lot to understand him. And then, men and women are so different. Of course, we're so different.
No, tell me the feeling. How do you feel when you're with the person? How do you feel? What's the feeling?
It depends on the beginning of the relationship or the middle of the relationship or the end of the relationship.
Well, any time. Let's say beginning of the relationship.
Exciting. At the beginning, I feel exciting. I feel loved. I feel occupied. I always thought of him, and then. Yeah, and the happy face.
So do you think at that point in time, you are the better version of you or the less better version of you?
I guess better.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's what you're attracted to. You're getting addicted to that better version of you, which is why you want it again and again and again.
Yeah.
This is exactly what happens.
Yeah.
So when somebody inspires you, you get attracted to someone, right? So they are showing some part of you, which you find, wow, so you feel more confident, you feel high self-esteem, you feel good about yourself. I want more of that. I want more of that. Suddenly you say, this is the person I want to be with because every time I'm with him or her, I feel amazing.
That way.
Exactly. And that's when you start developing that relationship. Relationship means relating too. Now, if you looked at a guy and he's the most handsome, the wealthiest guy, and you say, I love this guy is amazing, he's a celebrity and whatever, and he comes and sits and talks with you, but he has got the worst attitude, you'll walk away.
Yeah.
Exactly. So what he's reflecting back is no fun for you. So technically, we fall in love with the version that we get to be when we are with that person, which is why we start getting attracted to people like that. That's the reason. That's how you kind of start building bonds. That's how it really works. If you see relationship from that perspective, you'll have a very different approach and a very different confidence when it comes to relationships. Because right now, the reason why you're struggling with relationships is because everything, it's like a little bit comes from self-esteem, but it also comes from, giving a little bit of your power away to the outside world.
I think because I have a very strong, powerful, and dominant mom. And my mom was... So when I look at her, when I was a child, I was like, oh my God, my mom is so, this and that. I don't want to be like her when I grow up. Yeah. And my father was so weak. And then when he's... So I got certain fixed belief developed.
There you go.
Like when I grow up and when I meet a guy, and then when I'm enter into a relationship, I'm not going to be fierce. I'm not going to be, how should I say it? I'm going to be like a mild, nice girl, which is not me.
Okay.
And so every time when I was in a relationship, I feel demeaned. I demean myself. And because I try to force myself to be certain type of woman, soft and tender. Maybe I'm soft and tender in some situations, but most of the time I'm not.
Yeah.
And then after some period of time, I feel like I'm not being myself.
Correct.
I even hate myself. Why am I so submissive? Why am I so easy to say yes to anything? I didn't have a stand like I have a stand at work. And I hated myself this way. So after a while, I was like, okay, there's no point to be with someone. I'm much better, be alone so I can be myself. When I be with someone, I felt like it's hard to be myself. I think that's what I think. Still.
Well, authenticity is simplicity. Being unauthentic is complex. So if you're kind of pretending to be someone, it's a huge burden to carry. Pretending something, I've got to pretend to be someone, is a huge burden to carry, which is why you can't sustain it for a long time. But if you're just authentic about who you are, if not the first or the second or the third, someone would completely resonate with what you're doing and
I
say.
think it's come to this part, the confidence. When I'm with my friends or my students, I can actually be myself and say, you shut up. That's bullshit. No, it's not like that. And then people love me for being a real bitch, yes. And being real to them. And then I was like, I can be so real and very real. I can be very authentic, but I don't feel like I can do that in front of a guy, especially Chinese guy. And then I thought I gotta be a certain way. And I have a classmate in my college, when I was in university. I still remember her name is Amy, which is a very common name. And I looked at Amy, I was like, oh, Amy is so soft and tender. And she got a very soft, light voice. And I was like, I wish to be more like Amy. And then actually for years, I tried to be her.
But? Because
I think women should be like this. And which is the opposite to my mom. Because my mom was a fierce woman. Okay? Yeah. Then after some time, I really find that it didn't work at all. It didn't work because Amy wasn't doing good at all. And I tried to be someone that even her life is not working.
Yeah.
And that works. Because if Amy's life is working, maybe I say I can copy something. Which may not work because I'm not her.
What if you just said, I accept exactly who I am and the right person will accept me back?
That's my next question. I know that. I heard that. But I don't believe it.
But that's the problem.
That's the problem. I can be myself and then I can attract the guy.
No, I'm not saying I can be myself. I'm saying I accept who I am. There's a difference. I accept who I am because right now you're not accepting who you are. If you want to be Amy, which means I'm not comfortable where I am. If I like I like what she's doing, so either you say, okay, maybe I can learn that behavior or absorb it or kind of internalize it, or you can just say, I accept who I am, I'll be true to myself, and the person who is attracted to that will be in my life, in my relationship. If you believe that, if you have a outlook on life
I think
from
it's
that?
a bigger problem. Like, I do believe people love me for who I am, especially when it comes to work and my students and my audience in YouTube. But when it comes to relationship, I just find it hard to believe like someone out there, enjoy who I am. I don't even believe like some of my girlfriends or most of my girlfriends, I got comment like my girlfriends that, do you know how nice I am to be your friend? You should be thankful that I stay here to be your friend. And I was like, why do you have to?
So why is this such a difficult thing for you to believe in a relationship? What's the reason?
I just look at, like my parents. My father left when I was 26. And that was a tough time for me because I thought my parents were doing well. And then I couldn't even tell my friends or my classmates, like, oh, my parents got divorced, my father left. And he just, bought a cigarette and then he just left us. And I just find that, oh my God, my mom was like working so hard to put the whole family together. And she really worked hard. And it's like, my goodness, my mother worked so hard and then her marriage still didn't work. So what could I do? I don't know what I can do. And then I look at my friends and then the society, like maybe half of the couples got divorced by the end. And I really feel like, wow, relationship is really tough. Not like work, because work, if I work hard, when I work hard enough and I got a degree and then I do the right things, then money comes. But relationship is not. It's like no matter how hard you try, I try, and if it is successful, it's successful. It's like no matter how hard you try, it's still like a gambling.
Do you want a relationship?
Yes and no.
Do you want one?
Yes and no.
So yes and
even
no means
this
going
one,
here and here at the same time.
Even this one, I have opposite desire. Like, well, it's nice to have a companion when I'm old.
But that's not why you have a relationship. That's not,
and
the reason
but
why.
it's also I said no because it takes a lot. It takes a lot to be with someone I'm not talking about marriage, but just conversation or daily stuff.
Then don't be in a relationship. Then be okay. Then be okay. So I'm okay with being single. That's fine. There's nothing wrong in it. There's no stigma to being single. That's fine. So you can't say I don't want to be in a relationship, so why am I not in a relationship? If you don't want to be, of course you're not going to be in a relationship. So if you're okay with being single, there's nothing wrong with being single. You can say, I enjoy my life being single. Fantastic. Accept yourself the way it is.
Actually, I do.
I do what?
I do enjoy my life quite well, like being single,
So you don't have then you don't have a relationship problem.
Is that?
Yes.
I thought I have a problem because I don't have a man, because a lot of friends of mine, like for those like 70 years old, they're always like, you gotta find a guy. You cannot, you don't want to die alone. And
that's their belief, not
yours. I said, why should I have a relationship? They said, you are so fine. You deserve someone. Like, deserve someone? How about I deserve myself? Why should I? Like, I'm good enough so I deserve someone. I mean, this concept, I find it weird. Like, because I'm a good person, then I should find someone to be loved. But I love me. I love me. My cats love me. I'm sure. But when many people, like a lot of them say that, and I started to feel like maybe I got a problem that I don't have a relationship for a long time, even though I don't feel like, So
let me give you the short answer. Other people's opinions is none of your business.
Yeah.
So if you're picking up on other people's opinions, they are giving their opinion based on their experiences of life, right?
Yeah.
So they're in a relationship and they think it's convenient, it's a compromise, it's companionship, whatever. No judgment there. But if you're happier on your own, you're happier on your own. Period. There's no compulsion and you're not less because you don't have a relationship and somebody else is better than you. That's completely wrong.
I think in the Chinese society, to a certain extent, it is. Like,
no.
Like we have like a, how should I say it? Like, if you have, like, it,
there are so many single women in Hong Kong right now.
No matter how hard I try or how successful I am, I think in Hong Kong is better, much better than Japan or Korea. So in Japan or Korea, no matter how successful you are, but like she's married, but she doesn't have a career. Let's say she doesn't have a career. She's not good at making money, but she's married.
So?
And then I make a lot of money, let's say, which is not now. But let's say I can make a lot of money and I'm famous and then I have a lot of fun, I have a lot of interesting friends, but I'm not married. The people would say, oh.
Do you want to be married?
No.
So then, end of discussion. It's not about what other people want, it's what you want. If you want to get married, then I'm sure there'll be hundreds and thousands of people, men who would want to marry you. You haven't decided internally, or you teach energy, don't you?
Yeah.
So tell me about, what is the energy of marriage? You tell me.
I never got married. I don't know.
No, so do you agree that in order to attract a relationship, you need to be in alignment with the energy of a relationship? Yes or no?
Yeah.
So you're not even looking for a relationship. You're happy where you are. So you're aligned with the energy of who you are, and that's perfectly fine. I don't see anything wrong with it.
Maybe I just need something to answer back. When next time my girlfriend said, "You should get married. Find someone. Don't die alone."
You can say, "I have many boyfriends on my phone." You can check.
Toy boys, maybe.
Whatever. There's this misconception or this misunderstanding about, again, it's all societal, that you have to do this and you have to. These days I see people who are single and having an amazing career, having an amazing life, having a relationship and marriage are very two different things. You can have relationships, or you can be in a relationship and not be married. You can have many relationships and not be married, or you can be married and have nothing and have just one relationship. So it's really not the same thing. And I get a lot of people, and trust me, I got a lot of people who come to me and they are not happy in their marriages.
Yeah, and then I got some friends told me, like, you gotta find someone. You're so nice. You deserve someone. Don't die alone, okay? And then when I looked at, some other girlfriend, they said, don't get married. Look at me. I'm so trapped. I cannot spend I actually have one girlfriend. She said, my dream is to have a facial treatment. It would be so nice if I can go for, a manicure, a pedicure, and then have a facial treatment, maybe one time, not one time in a week, like one time. And I was like, wow, I would never get married if you say that. Like, I cannot even have a facial treatment. Are you kidding me? So how about work? Now I got my answer.
What's your answer?
I quite enjoy my life now, and I do love working. I so love working. Sometimes I feel guilty or I let people tell me that, oh, you're a workaholic. You love your work so much, and this and that. Or they said you cannot. People always say this and say that. Sometimes when I'm tired, or when I'm feeling like not be myself, that I would take their feedback. But actually, I do know what I want very well.
So so going back to my original question, why are you allowing the opinion of other people to sway your own?
Because some of them are really close to me. Like I cherish them. I cherish the friendship we have. And sometimes I fail to draw the, healthy boundary. Like, she's good to me, but the things she's talking about is not for me. And sometimes I really fail to draw that, healthy boundary. And I let them enter into my world like, oh, so I got a problem. I got to find someone. I got to see someone, or
okay, so next time when that happens, you can tell yourself while you're having that conversation is that I cannot allow someone else's opinion to affect my self-acceptance. And you will not absorb that energy at all. It's a tool I'm giving.
Yeah, that would be so great.
Yeah, so you can hear people, but you don't have to get emotionally entangled into their opinions, because of course they have their opinions, and welcome.
No.
So if you're having a good life being on your own, and you reflect that self-acceptance, you'll be surprised. Relationships will come to you out of the blue. People will approach you out of the blue. But you can't say, I want a relationship, but I want to be single, Relationships don't work, but I don't have a relationship. My mom and dad, so you're here and there at the same time.
That's my nightmare.
Yeah, but you're here and there at the same time. So what you want to attract, you're selling it at the same time. So you're staying in the center. But what I'm giving an easy way out, I'm saying if I just accept who I am, where I am, I love being single, I love my job, I love doing my work, I love doing everything, and the right relationship, companionship, if you don't even put a label as marriage or what, the right relationship will come to me when I'm ready. You'll be surprised how fast that comes. And then you'll have to give me a bottle of champagne.
I don't mind. But
exactly. You're making it more complex than it is what I'm saying.
Am I?
Yes.
But I mean, you married, right? So don't you think like in the marriage, I'm asking something like, in the relationship, do we have to sacrifice a lot? Or do you have to change yourself? Or how do you, maybe it's too personal to ask, like, how do you manage, if it is the right word, a marriage or a family?
All right.
Can you do that?
So I'm not a relationship guru, but I'll just give my own experience. So basically, two things make a relationship.
Yeah.
It's intimacy, which is emotional intimacy, physical intimacy, intimacy, and secondly is understanding. So if you have high understanding and high intimacy, it's a successful relationship. If you have high intimacy and low understanding, it's dynamite.
But how do you define intimacy?
Well, intimacy.
Like a lot of people have intimate relationship, but they're not intimate.
What do you mean?
Like you have a husband or a wife, you have sex, which is, I say, intimate relationship, but still we have a lot of secret. We don't tell them.
So there's no understanding. That's what I'm saying.
There's understanding.
So what I'm saying is when there's high intimacy and no understanding, it's dynamite. At some point it's going to blow up. If you have too much understanding and no intimacy, it's a friendship.
Yes,
it's a friendship.
That's us.
Right? So, but when you have intimacy and understanding, it's a real relationship.
Lover.
So yeah, so you can, each person can determine not by themselves that, how much understanding and intimacy do I have in a relationship, how much do I want and how much I don't want. And that's what, in my opinion, always makes a good relationship.
I actually have some men friends that really enjoy being with them, but there is any like romantic notion, any like sexual attraction at all.
That's a friendship.
But I just enjoy being with them.
That's a friendship.
Enjoy the conversation, enjoy the energy, the presence. That's
fine. That's perfect. That's the friendship, and you enjoy each other's company. It's fine.
I'm using this interview as my personal coaching.
I can see that.
Okay. Let's talk back. Okay. So let's move back to the success.
In short, if you would just accept who you are without listening to what other people's opinions are, and you stand by your own, the right relationship will come to you faster than you think.
That really surprises me.
But you have to be open for that. But you got to be open for that.
Thank you so much. And because I heard quite a few of my girlfriends said that, so I thought it must be from my inner voice. Like, I actually think that, like, I'm not good enough. And that's why my friends, some of my very close friends, would tell me something like this. Because if they are not close friends, I would not listen to them. Like, oh, you said what you want to say, that's your business. But because they are so, close girlfriends, then I would listen to them. And then I thought, it must be from me. Like, I feel like I'm not good enough. That traditionally, I got to have a man to be, but it's not what I believe. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So let's move back to our topic. But when it comes to success,
I will send you the invoice later on. Go ahead. Yeah.
So when it comes to success, so actually before the interview now, I have a tea time with some businesswomen, some business people. And I just find that many people, actually, they're doing the business, they don't expect to make money. They don't expect they can make money. At least they're not expecting they can make money in an easy way and a comfortable way and a joyful way, but they make money in a very complicated ways. So do you have like students like this or your coachee, like, you look at them and then you find, oh, wow, they're like, moving in big circles, like complicating things, or they actually don't have a healthy relationship with money?
That's more like it. Because now I don't know your friends who you're talking to, but what I can tune into, what you're saying intuitively, is that they put money as it's you have to struggle and sacrifice to make money. That's a belief most people have. If I don't struggle and sacrifice, then I'm not worthy of money.
Exactly.
So some people come from that belief, and they can't really get to this level of belief that if I do what I enjoy and I can give value, I'm going to make money. It doesn't work. And especially in this profession, healers are a big part of it. Many healers are broke.
Broker than broker.
Yeah, because they want to do this, but they don't make money. So it's even worse, because then your energy goes even lower, and you're doing healing, which is so the energy drainage is double more. It goes
down.
Exactly. So you're doing healing, which is an energetic thing, but if you're broke, you're losing that energy. So how can you be a good healer if you're in that space? So you got to understand that you don't have to complicate this whole concept of about abundance. And if you believe that, this is an abundant universe and what I do can bring me abundance, that's a fundamental belief you have. So when people complicate things, like I have to do 10 steps before I can start making income or money, there's a bit of a distortion in the relationship they have with money, an energetic distortion in the relationship they have with money.
This is very interesting, because these entrepreneurs, actually, they can choose to have a job. Like they enter into their own business like 10, 25 years ago. And like they created a way to make money in a very, very hard way. But they can actually just find a job like easier 10 years ago, 25 years ago. And then you have a job, you just work there, 8 hours, and then you make the good money. But they chose to be in business.
But that's okay.
But then they complicate things, and then they were suffering.
Well, it's a
lot
choice.
of people do that.
Well, like I said, your life is a culmination of the choices you make. Maybe you chose that I want to do a business instead of going for a job, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. The important thing is to understand is your words are your wardrobe of the soul. Very important. Your words are your wardrobe of the soul, and I can tell very quickly when people are talking that what they want and what they're doing, is that in alignment or not. So if you're starting
alignment,
if you're talking about your business and it's always the problems, the obstacles, the complaining, the blaming, somebody else is responsible for it, you can easily see that what they're doing and their words are not in alignment. So when your thoughts, words, and actions are not in alignment, you can't expect the result of abundance. It doesn't work that way. So that alignment is really important. So if you enjoy your business, if you're giving value, the words you speak are in alignment with what you're doing, the actions you take is in alignment with what you're doing, the abundance will come.
I need to cough. So how do you know whether people are aligned or not? Because sometimes even they don't know whether they are aligned or not.
So you're asking me, how do I know?
Yeah, as a teacher,
Well, by their energy, by the speech, by the way their body language just tells you very easily whether people are in alignment with what they want to create, or they're not in alignment with what they're looking to create. So you can have a lofty goal, a fancy goal you want to create. You want a successful business or amazing relationship, you want to buy a new car, you want to have more money, all of those kind of things. But when your thoughts, your words, and your actions are not in alignment, energetically in alignment with that, what you want to create, then there is a gap, there's a distance. So what do? You energetically just align yourself. So you change what you think, you change how you feel, and you change what you do. And you get an alignment. Simple as that. What we say, having a clear intention and like more elevated emotion. And when you marry that, you get closer to your goals. That's how it works. It's simple. We complicate it.
It sounds simple.
But we complicate it. We complicate it. It really, we do complicate it.
Okay, so I believe there are a lot of other elements for people to become successful. Like a lot of people, they have fear of uncertainty. Of course, people have like fear of failure, and then they have fear of success, or all kinds of fears. So we're not going to talk about all of them right now because it's been like 30 minutes, over 30 minutes. So let's have a stop here. we take a break and then we go to the next part, shall we?
All right. Awesome.
OK，咁我哋暫時講拜拜先。OK，拜拜。